We want to welcome you to the 33rd Annual Penn State Behrend Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Before we get too far removed, there is one person that I would like to recognize, and that is Fran Laufer, wife of former A.D. Herb Laufer, very good friend of mine. We have a memorial tournament in Herb's offer every year, and it's nice to see you, Fran. Thank you. You wonder why I'm not in a coat and tie tonight. Well, I was ill last year. I was so ill that I lost 55 or 60 pounds. None of my suits fits anymore. And I was too cheap to go out and spend $19.99 on a new one. But I did talk to Brian Streeter, and I said, Brian, would you mind if I wore Penn State Behrend garb here tonight and brought along some accessories? He said, you do what you want. So I have my Penn State Behrend sweatshirt over top of a Penn State Behrend Athletic Department shirt. I have my Penn State Behrend watch. You're just going to have to take my word for that. My Penn State Behrend ball cap. And it was cold enough today to wear one of these. I did 2 soccer games today, and I'm very happy to tell you that Penn State Behrend won both of them. I also brought my Penn State scarf. This is one of these things where you wet it. If you're out in the yard working, it gets cold, so you don't get overly hot. So I got that at the Herb Laufer Memorial Tournament this weekend, or not this weekend, this summer. And it's come in very handy on occasions, very nice. I also have my Penn State Behrend pen that I'm using to make notes tonight. But there was one thing that I wanted that my wife had, one of those foam fingers, you know, Penn State's #1 and all that sort of thing. She picked it up a couple of years ago. And when I learned I was going to be the MC tonight, I asked her a few weeks ago, I said, honey, could I borrow the foam finger tonight to add to all the accessories I'm bringing? And she said, no, you'll get it dirty, you'll lose it. I knew I wasn't going to win that battle that night at least, so I just let it go. But today I tried one more time before I came out here for the soccer games. And I'm very happy to say that my wife relented. And about noon today, my wife finally gave me the finger. That was a long time for that joke. One thing I am not going to do tonight, and I'm not going to read or paraphrase even the bios in your program. You can do that. The presenters will have plenty of time to introduce the inductee. And the inductee himself or herself will obviously say a lot about the times here at Penn State Behrend. So we're going to start tonight. I'm going to introduce Dan Peritano, who got win number 390 today in his 30-year career as men's soccer beat Mount Aloysius in a nail-biter by a score of 1-0. And Dan is going to present for induction Jake Gamble.
Thanks, John. All right, before I start with Jake, I just would like John Parente to stand up. John was our longtime assistant. He wasn't here for our ceremony at the beginning. He was Jake's assistant. He's now Jake's boss at Harbor Creek High School, as Jake is an assistant coach with John. So you guys want to participate a little bit tonight? All right, so let's talk about individual sporting records that are unbreakable. Throw a few out. What do we got? What's Wayne Gretzky? What is that? Points. I don't know what that is. I'm not a big hockey guy. Another one here. Joe DiMaggio, 56 game. Wilt Chamberlain, 100 points. What else? Who? Give me a record. Super Bowls. And then over here, I have a few more. I have Cal Ripken, unbreakable, right? We have Ted Williams, most likely unbreakable. We have Pele, it's a soccer player, for those of you who don't follow soccer, 1,000 goals. And then we have this guy right here, Jake Gamble. Jake Gamble, 60 goals in 4 years. Let's repeat that. 60 goals. Yeah, 4 years. Let's break it down for Jake here. 6 goals as a freshman because we didn't play him enough. It's our fault. 17 as a sophomore, 15 as a junior, 22, which is also a single season school record, as a senior. He led us to the NCAA tournament second round. Did not score a goal in that game, but one of my favorite highlights of Jake's career is his celebration after winning that game. He had no hand in the goal, but Jake cared so much about winning. We'll get to that in about 15 minutes here. So let's dig a bit deeper what it takes to score goals. It takes an incredible understanding of the game. It takes great teammates. We have a couple of those guys down here, Mike and Aaron Meal. It takes great teammates to score goals. It takes a selfishness to score goals. It really does. Let's break it down even further. 26 of Jake's goals were game winners. Out of an 80-game career, approximately 26 goals were game winners. That's saying a lot. Jake was an All-American for us. And once again, those teammates, all of Jake's teammates, will back him up. They created, he scored. On 12 occasions, Jake scored 2 goals. And we're going to get to a couple myths here about Behrend soccer and about Jake Gamble, and about myself a little bit. We'll get to those in a minute. Only on 2 occasions did Jake score 3 goals in a game, which is considered a hat trick. Myth number 1 is that we would take players out when they got to 2 goals. The data backs it up, but it was at the subconscious level that we took Jake out when he got to 2 goals, or he might be sitting here with 70 goals. So that's myth number 1. I'll let Jake handle that myth when he gets up here. So again, only on 2 occasions did Jake Gamble score 3 goals in a game. So once again, Jake played with great players who provided a great goal-scoring environment for him that allowed Jake to succeed. Jake came here with a great skill set, a strong desire to win and compete. He's a Behrend soccer guy, and we have a saying in our program, we like Behrend guys. Jake typifies, Jake personifies what a Behrend soccer guy is. Puts winning first, competes, cares about his teammates. He's a very, very good friend of mine. We're close now. He's an alum. He cares about our team. But simply put, Jake always put winning first. Once again, our team thrived with him at the helm. How about Jake Gamble, the recruited student athlete here? This is another myth. Jake he'll bend your ear about how he wasn't recruited. The recruiting process was exactly the way we wanted. We wanted Jake to want to come here, so we left him alone. We ignored him. Similar to, I think, what Danielle did, who's Jake's wife now, when they started to date. So we had the same modus operandi here. Jake is going to tell you that we didn't recruit him, but we left him alone. That was our modus operandi to recruit Jake Gamble. So I messaged a lot of his teammates, like we all do up here, for information. All of it was unshareable in a public setting. So the stories are fun. Jake had a great experience here because he put a lot into it. I'm really, really proud to have coached Jake. I'm even prouder to consider him a very good friend of mine now. We live in the same neighborhood. And Jake, on behalf of your teammates, Behrend Athletics, John Parente, and myself, congratulations and welcome to the Hall of Fame. And one more thing, congratulations to everybody up here. Even you, Russ. All right. But Jake, come on up. Congratulations, Jake. That's yours.
All right. Well, first off, congrats to everyone sitting up here tonight. It's an incredible honor to be here with you, to get inducted into the Behrend Hall of Fame class of 2023. Looking down the line, there's been so many good memories. Whether it was going down to Hungry Howie's, grabbing a pizza, catching a baseball game, seeing Bittner hit some home runs, watching Craggs cause havoc on the base pass, stealing bases, watching Val play for the women's team, scoring game-winning goals, Russ going for a double-double with some electric dunks on the basketball court. Just a few memories that I have just looking down the line here, and congrats, and it's been an honor to compete with you guys. Quick story on how I ended up at Behrend, which you've already alluded to. Dan was the first college coach to come to one of my high school games. And he found me afterwards, gave me his pitch, gave me his packet, but I knew deep down he was more interested in another player on my high school team. Drew Donahue, excuse me. After a few other visits to various other schools, I found myself reaching back out to coach late in the spring of 2009 for a visit. I remember vividly going down Bayfront, turning left onto campus, looking at my dad saying, "This is it. This is home." I committed later that day. Before even talking to coach, talking to admissions, or even seeing the team play, it just felt like my second home. A few thank yous to go through. First and most importantly, my parents and family. Without you guys, none of this was possible. From supporting my decision to try out for a club team south of Pittsburgh, an hour and a half away, that played 3 or 4 times a week, from traveling up and down the East Coast, tournaments, games, showcases, you name it, all while raising 2 other sons who were just as active in multiple sports. Oh, and you guys also had jobs that you had to work. You guys are my heroes. Sorry. You guys are my heroes, and I hope I can just give a fraction of what you gave me to my son, Avon. To my wife, Danielle, who is also a standout here on the women's team, thank you for your love and support over the years, even though it took you a little convincing for you to give me a chance. I love you guys, and thank you. To my coaches, from Coach Dan to Coach John Prenny, to all of our GAs that we've had in our program, I can't thank you guys enough for our leadership, encouragement, and support throughout my time at Behrend. And it is extremely special to me that 2 of my Behrend coaches I can now call some of my best friends. To my teammates, you are the main reason that I'm up here today. There is such a long list of talented players that I had the privilege of playing with. A couple of you are here tonight, can't name them all. Lebs, Meal. You guys always put me in a good position to be successful by doing the dirty work. And I sincerely thank you for that, and thank you for all of the memories that we've made together. Lastly, the Behrend Athletic Department. There are so many people to thank from Gabby to Joe Yama, but one constant was always Mr. Streeter. There can't be another athletic director that is as dedicated and genuinely invested in their department as you are here at Behrend. You are at every event, helping move bleachers, stock concession stands, cheering, or even driving the elderly to the stands like you did for my grandpa every home game that we had. You haven't just hired great coaches, but you've hired great people as well. When you hire great coaches, they recruit great student athletes. When you put together great student athletes, you get lifelong friendships, and that's what I've been blessed to experience in my time here at Behrend. Mr. Streeter, thank you. And again, congrats, Hall of Fame class of 2023. It's an honor and privilege to be up here with you, and I wish you guys all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Congratulations to you. Our next presenter has been the swimming and diving coach here at Penn State Behrend for 20 years. Also, I believe the title is aquatics director. Jen Wallace, a story about 3-4 weeks ago, I took a tumble coming out from Erie Hall. And Jen happened to be in the vicinity and came over and helped me up and I had a cut on my hand and my leg and so forth. She was very gracious and helped me, so I'm deeply indebted to her. And Jen tonight is going to present for induction Clay Aldamos, 2013 men's swimming. Jen Wallace.
So, little story about Ali first. Ali told me for 4 years in a row that he was going to swim on the swim team. Finally, is last year, Coach, I'm definitely going to do it. I'm definitely going to do it. So I did buy you a suit. I brought it with me. But now I really think I might need to give it to John because he didn't really represent swimming at all for us, for his Behrend gear. So you guys can fight over it later.
Thank you.
So I am super honored to be here to introduce Clay Aldamos. I'm going to talk a little bit about his stats first because I think they're pretty awesome. Let's try that again. At AMCC Championships, Clay competed in 26 events over his 4 years. Of those 26 events, he was an AMCC champion in 23 of them. 23 AMCC championships. The 3 that he was not the first place finisher in, he was second and only to one of his teammates. So he was a huge factor in the success of our program. He was the newcomer of the year as a freshman. He had 3 NCAA consideration times. Over his career, he held 4 different individual records as well as 4 relay records. By the time he graduated, his name was on our top 10 list 40 times. That's pretty amazing. I think only one other athlete has managed to do that so far in their career in our program. Today, his 100 butterfly record still holds. I think the closest person is still over a half a second away. And he holds 6 of the top 10 times for the 100 fly. Special part was the 200 medley relay. As a senior, they were 26th in the country, and they missed being invited to the NCAA championship by just 0.8 seconds. Had they made that time the year before, they all would have been invited to the big meet. Academically, he was the type of student athlete that every coach dreams of. Dean's List every single semester. Graduated with a 3.9 GPA, which earned him a spot as academic All-American, as well as the Behrend Student Athlete of the Year. Clay understood the meaning of commitment. He committed to our program. He committed to his academics and his studies. He also committed to the company and the profession that he started. Through his career, he's worked his way up from reactor operations engineer, where he was sent to nuclear power school, and then is now a unit engineering manager. While having breakfast with his family, he's also very committed to his wife and his children. And for me, seeing that is such an amazing thing to see from my perspective. But this really only tells part of the story. So I reached out to a number of his teammates who also, as Dan said, had stories we can't share. But Everett said it best. And I'm going to do this verbatim because I think he had a really great way of saying it. No college student or student athlete I've ever met was more capable of setting priorities and sticking to them than Clay. He was always well-rested, ahead of schedule on assignments, and never a liability for practices or meets. I cannot say the same for anyone else, including myself. Dan and Bubba mentioned his consistency and reliability. They said that Clay always gave his best and set the standard for the team, and you always knew what you were getting with him every single day. Dane, who is here tonight, echoed those thoughts, saying his most vivid takeaway was how driven and dedicated Clay was. He would never whined, never complained, and he always had a smile on his face and was always up for a race. He always gave 100% in everything he did. That, for me, was most evident in his team over self mentality. While I know he very much would have preferred to swim the 200 backstroke at championships, he got to swim the 200 fly, which is a quite grueling event every year at champs. But he did that, maybe not with a smile on his face, but he always did it with heart. Hunter mentioned how, first Hunter said what Everett said with little arrows. And then he also mentioned that Clay worked in silence and let his performance do the talking. When Clay swam, he was always very stoic. Didn't necessarily show emotion, whether he won or he lost, whether he performed well or didn't. But one memory that Joe brought up was the 200 freestyle relay, senior year champs. Clay anchored, finished, and just pounded the water, which is really fun to see when you're at a swim meet that's high energy. That relay broke our record and beat the perennial powerhouse Grove City. So a very great memory for all of us, I think. So things that I can never forget about Clay, Everett actually put it best, saying he always had the perfectly formulated one-line zingers. Although most of us missed them, and they were never repeated again. Those were also things that probably the reason why we started a quote book for our team. Dan Simon mentioned, this is probably his best memory and favorite memory, that you one-two'd, quote unquote, the weirdo from Westminster in the 100 backstroke at championships and made him cry. Dan said that's hands down his favorite memory, swimming with you. Clay, you were amazing to watch. You always swam with your heart. Your relay starts were out of this world, and your leadership and witty one-liners are definitely missed. You truly deserve this honor. I'm very, very proud of you. Congratulations.
Well, good evening all, and thanks Coach Jen for those kind words. I'm both honored and very proud to be standing in front of you, being an inductee into the Behrend Athletics Hall of Fame with the class of 2023. Now, when I was at Behrend, frankly, nothing was really that special about this group. We were all winning. We were all taking our teams further than they'd ever gone before. That was really the standard that we set amongst ourselves. So really, if you were on campus, it all seemed normal because everybody was doing it, right? That's the expectation that we set. It wasn't about the individual achievements that each of us were achieving, but it was actually the lasting effects that each of these athletes in front of you had on future Behrend teams. Yesterday, I had the luxury of attending a swim practice, and I got the opportunity to talk to some of our young athletes. By the end of our talk, I found myself talking to our best swimmer. Imagine that, right? He's breaking records. He may even go after some of mine, but I found myself quickly diverting the conversation from those individual records to our relay records. And it almost sounds like Coach Jen and I have planned this speech together, but I'm going to end up saying the same thing. So, at one point during the conversation with him, I was like, hey, that 100 fly record, it's all yours. You just got to work for it, right? But that 200 medley relay, I was pretty fast. Good luck with that, So, Coach, I want to call if that relay record's ever broken. I think there's going to be 3 others that also are going to want to call there. But with that, I want to take a minute to I thank my swim coaches throughout the many years. Coach Kathy, Coach Chrissy, Coach Joe, all those coaches I had growing up throughout the years. They played such a big role in my swimming career until I made it to Behrend. And then, the 4 years at Behrend, Coach Jen, Coach Joe, you guys have been amazing. You taught me a lot. You taught me a lot of great lessons about swimming, but more importantly, a lot of great life lessons. And the one I would like to share with you today is one that covers personal ownership and accountability. And it's actually very closely related to what Coach Jen was saying. So picture this, senior year, we have our mid-season invitational at Fredonia, New York. Now, this year, our team was as fast as ever. We had guys lining up just to take my spot in this 200 freestyle relay. And that team was awesome. But the one thing you have to remember is, basically day one, I hop in the pool at Behrend and I'm on that 200 freestyle relay and I never left it, right? Well, our coach had one simple rule, and that was the 4 fastest swimmers, they get in the relay, right? That makes sense. It's a pretty reasonable rule. Well, we swam at the preliminary race that morning, and I guess you can imagine where this story is going. I didn't have a great swim, so I wasn't one of the fastest 4. I think I was number 5 and outside looking in, right? So Coach Joe comes up to us, tells us who's on the relay, and as you can imagine, the rule was simple. Those were the 4 swimmers, right? My name wasn't one of them. So naturally, I go talk to Coach Joe. I'm like, come on, Coach. Like, come on, I'm pretty fast. I'm a final swimmer. I wasn't good at prelims. Like, I'll get it, right? Well, Coach Joe gave me not a single second of time to talk about that one. So he basically told me that, hey, I didn't make the cut. Next, Luckily, Coach Jen was standing right next to him, so I thought I was going to mom and dad the situation. And I was like, hey, Coach, about this relay, and I think she gave me even less time. She turned around on me and didn't say a thing. So there was me not making that relay, right? That was a real hard pill to swallow, especially after, at that point, 3.5 years of success in this program, constantly winning, and the most important thing in my eyes was being on those relays. I love swimming those races. But fast forward a few months, we were at our conference championship meet. I was the anchor on that relay. That was the same relay that I didn't qualify for previously, but I was the guy. And Coach was willing to put me in that last leg. And as you can imagine, I had a comeback from behind win. And like Coach Jen said, it splashed in the water. It was pretty exciting. It's one of my favorite swims. So, team records, the conference records, all those championships, and that relay is my fondest memory. So, I speak for hundreds of swimmers that have come through this program that you all have coached. And Coach Jen, Coach Joe, thank you for all the memories. More importantly, thank you for the hard lessons learned. We all need it sometimes, but really appreciate you too. I would also like to thank, my mother, my father, my 2 sisters. Yeah. So as you can imagine, a swim meet is not the most exciting thing to do on the weekends, and these swim meets would last all weekend, and you'd swim a few times, and it was a long weekend, right, as a family. But we made the best out of it. So I really, really appreciate the time that you guys put into me for me to reach my goals. And I think we did it as a family, all of us. Lastly, I just wanted to thank the guys that I swam with. Those guys they mean everything to me. Specifically, you, Dane. It's coming up in multiple speeches now. I think at this point you should be up here. Dane, you always had a smile on your face, and I know that's kind of what you said about me, but maybe we went really well together. But no matter how tough things were, somehow you were still able to keep a smile on, and you were the only one still having conversations while everybody else is bent over, sucking air. So I really appreciate swimming with you for those 3 years. So in close, I would like to thank the Behrend Lions Athletic Association. for honoring me and this group tonight. And really just thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Clay, and congratulations. Our next presenter tonight, you're going to hear not once, not twice, but 3 times tonight. Paul Benham has been here at Penn State Behrend for 31 years, 28 as the head baseball coach, over 700 wins. When he was a student here at Behrend, his professors called him Computer. Not because of any great intellect. He'd go to sleep if left unattended for 15 minutes. Paul Benham. And he will be inducting tonight Ryan Cragness, among others.
Appreciate it, John. Congrats to all the inductees. I had the pleasure of doing some sports info before Jill. There's a lot of talent on this stage. I wish I wrote the following sentences. They come by way of teammate Jay Conda, all the way from Georgia, discussing his 3 Hall of Fame teammates. Confident competitors, extreme belief in themselves, intense focus, their consistent greatness over 4 years is what ultimately makes them Hall of Famers. Some might say it was on the edge of arrogance. He always saw it as a positive. If they didn't believe they were the baddest dudes on the field, how are they supposed to accomplish what, in fact, they wanted? They weren't intimidated by anybody, and they relished the competition. On the road at Frostburg State, playing an elite Division II Seton Hill, at a Marietta Regional, it didn't matter. These 3 were elite performers. Tonight we're going to begin with our leadoff hitter, Ryan Cragness. A unique part of his story is he went from walk-on to the Hall of Fame stage this evening. Before he tried out, we did some research, talked to his youth coaches, his high school guys, and they said he's such a good guy, and it just didn't do it justice. I specifically remember a conversation with Ryan next to the first base dugout, and it became very clear to me that the type of person he was and was becoming was somebody you'd want your daughter to marry. Craigs played the game like an 8-year-old on the way to recess. He was always smiling, and he had this ultimate bounce and flavor to him. He seized the moment in the first game that he ever got in with an RBI single in Florida against Ursinus. He helped us win the league championship and compete and do pretty well in the NCAA tournament. Piling up on pitcher's mound is one of the best moments of the year. Guys getting crushed on the bottom, people buried in the middle, but being an outfielder gets you on top in all the pictures, Craigs, right? Craigs was a run creator, a smooth left-handed batter who had this enviable grace about him. He could run, played high-level defense, and he played with this ultimate confidence and a little swag. He could hit for a high average. He could wear down an ace by giving you an 8 to 10 pitch at bat, handle 4+ throwovers. He'd take his walk, steal a base, move to third on a ground ball, and casually score on a sac fly, or he'd force the starter to throw more fastballs to Bittner, and that would be a big mistake. These moments seem so commonplace, so routine, almost boring to the untrained eye. His efforts were worthy of MVP awards. Then as he prepared for year 2 in his collegiate career, he began the assault on the record books. In 2011, he earned all-conference accolades while hitting .388. That same season, we surveyed the team, what does Behrend baseball mean to you? His answer, it means everything, representing my coaches, the institution, and playing for those who've played before us. I love that about him. He had perspective for such a young man. It was bigger than him. It was all about the program. The next season, more honors. Craigs had 58 hits, scored 54 runs. He stole 36 bases out of 37 tries, went 7 for 11 as we won an ECAC championship on the road down at a pretty good Wesley club. We captured that title. He was named all-conference again. Entering his final season, we needed guys to step up. Craigs was a monster. He was selected by his teammates as the program's Golden Glove winner. During both his junior and senior seasons, he handled 184 chances, only making one mistake. His teammate, Joe Paternitti, shared, "I'm pretty sure no ball ever touched the ground in center field while he was patrolling it." Craggs also registered an eclectic .515 on-base percentage while earning additional league honors. His career on base was .497. For those of you in the room who struggle without calculators, that's maybe 2 or 3 more times of reaching the first base, and it's 500. That's ungodly. One more Gork, a Texas leaguer, a bleeder, a tweener, a duck fart, a dying quail, a flare, a bad hop ground ball, a ground ball, John, with eyes. I'm not sure we'll ever see anything like it. Craggs is named to the AMCC All-Conference squad and recognized with all-region honors. By the way, he finishes his career as the all-time stolen base king with 105. You see, speed showed up every day. It influenced the game in only ways that speed can, constantly getting into scoring position for his team. He concluded his career #1 in single seasons for walks, 4th in runs scored, and 9th in hits. As we cross home plate like Craggs did 182 times, teammate Vinny Rice shared, "Craggs did awesome things. If you needed somebody on base to jumpstart the inning, he was your guy. Defensively, he was so good. He made the hard plays look routine." During Craggs' career, we go 55-14 against the league. We average 29 wins a season. His average season, folks, 47 hits, 45 runs scored, 28 walks, and 26 stolen bases. He hits 300 for 4 straight years, and he registers 190 hits. Only 6 players in 60-plus years of Behrend baseball have eclipsed the 200-hit threshold. Boyle, Fife, and Gray are in the Hall of Fame. Bowman, Lavinka, and Seda will follow. Number 4, this is your Hall of Fame moment. A huge accomplishment. You left an indelible mark on me, Behrend, in the program. Congratulations.
How do you follow that up? Jeez.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everyone. It's a bit surreal standing here tonight. I've heard stories of how great that man's words are. I've obviously played for him, but I've heard stories about tonight, and that was unbelievable. Thank you. Thank you so much. That meant a lot. Thanks for presenting me. My wife made a brilliant suggestion about this part of the weekend, and she said to keep my words to under 4 minutes. So you want to start the clock? I am incredibly thankful to have my wife, family, teammates present for this moment. A few of my favorite people could not be here tonight in the room, so it's unfortunate, but I'd like to make a quick shout out to them. My son, Jameson, sister-in-law, Jamie, my nephew, Teo. They're in Erie, and they're with us, and I love them and wanted to make sure to shout out to them. And also my dad, he's ill. He couldn't make it tonight. I know he really wanted to be here. Maybe I'll sign a baseball for him, you know. There's so many people to thank, maybe too many. Excuse me. And it's just so many people to be thankful for. It's impossible to acknowledge everyone. But it's really a cool thing. But if you're not mentioned by name, you're not important. There just wasn't time. So I'd like to thank Coach Streeter, Gabby Quiggle, and all the individuals representing Behrend Athletics that were responsible for tonight. It's clear that a lot of work went into this, a lot of hands to prepare this, so thank you so much. I'd like to, some of the athletes, you guys, some of you I know, some of you I do not, but I do know that we worked our butts off in the gym, off-season, practice, to be able to compete at a very high level. So I wanted to say excellent work, well done, and congratulations. I'd like to shout out Mr. Dennis Grace as well. Cubbies and Bit, it's an honor to be sharing this day with you two. It's clear that my accolades were in part due to your own, and I'm lucky to have had you guys as teammates. Thanks so much. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the haters. There's a lot of naysayers in my past, some non-believers that I've encountered along the way, but I got 3 pile-ups to prove that you guys were wrong. And yeah, all kidding aside, to be fair, there were more promoters than detractors. And I want to thank some people. Parents, people like the Kesslers, the Langs, the Condits, Bittners, many other moms and dads. Y'all were unbelievable in your presence, your actions, your kindness. Thank you, coaches, including dads from the neighborhood growing up, Mr. Lynn, Mr. Doyle. Thank you, travel ball coaches, Mr. Crawford, Davin, Zygmunt. Hitting coaches, Jeff Boris, Mike Schmidt. Freshman baseball coach, Jeff Bouch. These people, wow. Along with many other moms, dads, kids, but just upperclassmen, people you touch along the way, they enabled me to succeed, so I couldn't not acknowledge them. Thank you, Coach Kemling. I'll always be thankful for your instruction, and I do miss your conversation. Rest in peace. Thank you, Coach Henry, Corbel, Fife, Beddick, Bartlett. Your timing in my baseball journey was tremendous, and I definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you, teammates, especially everyone I ever took the field with, and alumni before my time. I'm going to shout out a few people here. Harry Latta. This man shared his bed with me in Florida as a freshman. That's unheard of. Matt Bittner, roommate of 2 years. Boy, we spent some time together, huh? Jeff Lang, Johnny Gray, my brothers in the outfield. Jay Condit, as Coach mentioned before. He befriended me before even knowing if I made the team. Shout out to the senior class of 2010, as freshmen. Those guys, they showed us what it was like to be seniors and how to step up and be leaders. And it changed the course of our journey. There's a really good reason why Behrend baseball guys refer to each other as cousins. And it's because we're like a family. And speaking of family, hi family. I want to thank my mom. My mother drove me everywhere, came to everything baseball related throughout my whole, adolescence and so forth. And I want to thank you for your commitment, your efforts, patience, and support. There's zero chance I accomplish what I have in this sport without you. Thank you, Sister Jenna, Matthew, Diane, Sam, Freda. Thank you guys all for your support and for being here tonight. It means a lot. Thank you, partner. My then girlfriend, now wife, mother of our son, literally drove my car back to our apartment on Saltzman Road the morning of our AMCC championship in 2023 to recover my jersey that I had left behind, not on purpose. And she just always has my back like that. And she's definitely my everything, and I want to thank you, Allison. Last but not least, I want to thank you synonymously, Behrend Baseball, Coach Paul Benham. Coach is an amazing human being, maybe the best I'll ever know. Thanks for believing in me, taking a chance. Thank you for your guidance, your wisdom, and your instruction. Thanks for all you do for the game and all that you have done for me. And I just want to leave you guys with an honest statement here that when I was writing this speech, it had me wishing I could do it all again. It was one heck of a ride, made an everlasting impact. And since I can't go back in time, I'm going to just try to embrace this as the next best thing. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ryan. Congratulations. I know Ryan, during his acceptance speech, talked about his wife, which brought up my wife and I have been married 48 years now. We celebrated 48 last month. Thank you. Our conversations nowadays are more philosophical than anything else. I said to her one time, I said, honey, sometimes you just have to embrace your mistakes. She came over and hugged me. You're getting a pattern here tonight. We have Dan Paratano, 30 years, Jen Wallace, 20 years, Paul Benham, 31 years. This next presenter tonight has been here 28 years, 545 wins to his credit. To introduce another 2023 inductee tonight, Russ Conley, here's Dave Nyland.
figure it out here. Congratulations to all the inductees. Up here, some talent for sure. Just sitting back there with Coach Pat Flaherty, who's an assistant on our team, and Coach Russ. Pat is the one who initially kind of put me on to Russ. I always like to talk about how it began. How did an athlete end up here? Coach Flaherty was at Mercyhurst Prep, and he was scouting a game. Russ was a junior, and Pat, I run the summer camps here, and he's like, there's a pretty good player down at Reynolds. I'm like, you sure about that, Flares? Because Reynolds is really good in wrestling. I don't know if they've ever had a hoop guy down there. So he said, nah, he's pretty good. And I remember going to Reynolds Mercer, walking in the gym, and I watched about a quarter and watched Russ go up and down. This was senior year. Watched about a quarter, and I'm like, all right, this guy's really good. He's got a huge ceiling. And then I started watching the doorway, and I started looking around the bleachers, because as a coach, that's what you do, because I'm like, I don't want anybody else to find out about this guy. So we spent the whole year kind of watching the doorways and bleachers, hoping that nobody else would get on and recruit him. And he was recruited. But we stayed on him. We recruited him hard. We recruited Russ's parents hard. And then we started rooting for a loss, meaning as they got into the PIAA tournament, the District 10 tournament, selfishly as a coach, I'm rooting for them to lose, because we did not want anybody else to see him. At 6'9", 6'10", he had a huge upside. We worked very, very hard to convince him Behrend was the right choice. He had some options. I think nowadays, the way basketball is, we might not have got Russ Conley to come here. But he was true to his word when he said he's coming, and he stayed. I think very early on, I knew he was going to be a special player, and he played with some really, really talented players and some really good teams with some of the teammates that he has here tonight. But he was a terrific player. The stats speak for themselves. I'm not going to read them to you. But at the end of the day, he's one of the most dominant, most accomplished players ever to wear a Behrend uniform. He's the all-time leading scorer. He is the second player in Behrend history to sign a professional contract. He played 1 year in Europe, played 2 years in Canada, and he played a year in the G League. I don't believe there's any other player in the AMCC that has done that. And he not only was one of the most dominant players at our college, but certainly in the AMCC. He was all-region, NABC All-American. The accolades that he had, again, was one of the most decorated players to ever play here. Today we practiced. I spoke to our team about the 2012-2013 team, and I spoke to them about Russ. And what I said to them was this. I said, when I think of Russ Conley, who none of these players ever met except for maybe one, I said, I don't think about all the points he scored. I don't think about the big baskets or the block shot or the huge rebound to win us some games, and he won us a lot of games. It was more about him as a competitor, the way he competed. It was about how coachable he was, how unselfish he was. Again, a talented player like that has to oftentimes sacrifice of themselves for a team to be good. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do when you're as talented as he was. But he did that. So when I thought about it, I said, the biggest thing about him was he was a great teammate. There's a reflection of the teammates that come out to support him tonight. But the bottom line to me, he's one of the nicest young men I ever had a chance to coach. And a lot of times when you're coaching your best player, it can be hard because they're really good, they have expectations. But he was one of our hardest workers, but he was also one of the nicest young men that we've ever had at Behrend, and certainly when I had a chance to coach over almost 30 years. It's an absolute honor to present for induction to the Behrend Hall of Fame, Russ Conley. Look at that hair. That's first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Russ Conley. I was fortunate enough to play here at Behrend under Coach Nyland for 4 years. There's a lot of familiar faces in here. I've not been in Erie for a while, so one of the most familiar, my friend Jake over here. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to everyone else. Well deserved. I'm going to start out with some thank yous. So firstly, I want to thank my parents. I actually, like he said, my school was a wrestling school. I wrestled till 6th grade. My dad was my coach. My very last year of wrestling, I made it to states, and it ended terribly. I got beat my first 2 matches, got pinned, I think both of them. I kind of tossed my headgear to my dad, and I was like, I'm playing basketball next year. So, growing up, they've always been so supportive. They've only missed 1 game in high school and college. It was a rescheduled game for Dewville. Somebody forgot to tell them about it. That someone was me. The support they gave me was unreal. Every year, they would come up with money that probably didn't have to send me to any basketball camp I wanted to. They would send me to North Carolina if I wanted to go there. I think I went twice. They were more than happy to invest in my future with endless support and love that has continued to this day. Thank you very much, Mom and Dad. Next person I would like to thank is no longer with us, but his impact on my basketball career cannot be measured. My Uncle Irv. Uncle Irv would come to Pennsylvania from Wisconsin, and it started out he would stay a week or 2, and then he would stay a month or 2. And by the end of my college career, he was just living with us. He was the guy who could look at anybody's shot, tell you what adjustments to make and everything, and just make you a better shooter. Other than my parents, he was my biggest fan. The patience he possessed was unmatched. I didn't have any basketball coaching before this, and he took a 12-year-old boy. We'd spend hours in the gym. We would just shoot. He would critique my shot, try to make it better, and then he would just kick my butt and horse. Then we'd go home. I think the first time I ever got a letter on him, I was pretty excited to tell the family when we got home. To my aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, thank you. My immediate family showed up in numbers today, and it really shows how much you guys care. Again, I received endless support from them. Thank you to my friends, family, teammates back there. Thank you guys. My girlfriend, Amanda. My sister came all the way from Illinois to watch this day. Thank you very much. To my teammates, basketball is 5 players in the court, and though I'm standing up here accepting this position to the Hall of Fame, there was no doubt without you guys I would not be here. Anyone who's ever played basketball or knows the sport understands that there's 4 other guys on the court, 10 or so guys on the bench yelling and screaming, and a great coaching staff to make a successful team. I would like to thank Mr. Streeter and everyone else that's behind the scenes for everything. He always made sure we had nice gear, pre-game meals, post-game pizza. The resources, the training staff that we had here was awesome, and it allowed these athletes up here to compete at the highest level. And it shows. Most of Behrend sports enjoyed success in the AMCC because of this. Lastly, I'd like to thank my coaches, especially Coach Nyland. Like he said, they recruited me very hard, harder than any other school. Came to the most games, showed the most interest in me. As a high school kid, walking on the college campus was a pretty great experience. I remember my first visit here very well. So I came on 2 visits here, actually. The first was to make sure I wanted to be here, and I committed before I came. I committed to here. I knew I was going to come here before my second, so I was just trying to get out of another day of high school. Coach Nyland has a world-class record here. He's hands down, I owe him all as far as skills and everything. He really molded me into the player that I was able to be. I was confident that he was going to make me the best player in person on and off the court. Coach Nyland's work ethic is evident. Year after year, his work in recruiting allowed great new players to come into the program, which allowed our teams to have great success. Throughout the years, Coach Nyland made it clear that if you laced up your shoes and you gave him your all on the court, he would also give you his all. That goes for more than just his players, I'm sure. I was just lucky enough to experience that in a capacity. After my junior year here, Coach Nyland and I had a conversation, and I told him, yeah, I would like to play overseas. And I think he was a little bit tougher on me because of that, which I thank you for. Coach Nyland helped me find my agent that got me into Germany. That allowed me to live out my international dreams of playing after college. He also had a huge part for the Bay. You were pretty much my agent after that, I think. He got me a tryout in front of Coach Peterson with the Bayhawks the year after Germany. I ended up making the practice squad and then eventually onto the team. And then, as my agent again, he got me a tryout for the team in Canada, which I was blessed to play 2 years for. This all occurred after I was already graduated. He never stopped believing in me, even after his responsibility to me was no more. And that's the reason I'm forever thankful. Behrend has a special place in my heart, and I'm again honored to be standing up in front of you and beside of all you to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.
Wow, it's incredible to be here right now. A lot of great talent up here. Congratulations, everyone. So as I stand before you today with a heart full of gratitude and deep sense of honor as I accept this Hall of Fame honor, my passion and dedication for the sport, track and field, and more specifically pole vaulting, has been a great experience. This moment is truly an accumulation of years of hard work, unbreakable commitment, unwavering support of so many incredible individuals, including my dad, my boyfriend, Neshve, my coaches, Coach Cooper, Big Coop, Coach Sanford, Coach Harris, everyone that just believed in me. Thank you to my parents for their support, my junior Olympic swimmer father who set the tone. Like I said, the athletic department, my coaches, just a great honor. I couldn't have done it without you guys. I want to express my deepest gratitude to everyone who's pushed me to be the best version of myself, day in and day out. Your sacrifices, encouragement, and love have been the source of my strength throughout this journey. Pole vaulting has been more than just a sport to me. It's been a journey of self-discovery, perseverance, just continuous growth that even kind of translate into my life today. It's a sport that demands not only physical strength, but also mental fortitude. The thrill of soaring through the air, defying gravity, and clearing heights that once seemed impossible is a feeling like no other, and it was addicting, honestly. It's a testament of the human boundless potential, and it sure was challenging. I believe Penn State Behrend was able to help all athletes train like warriors, honestly. I felt like a warrior, even setting school records in the rain. It's raining today, and so it's kind of ironic. Even though we all dreaded the snow and the harsh weather conditions, it's really what made us like stand out from other people. And I think that, you know, being here is just a true honor and standing up here. Most importantly, I wanted to express my appreciation for being an athlete that's taught me just life lessons about setting goals, overcoming obstacles, and just never giving up. No matter how little or small, rain or shine, it truly was a mindset of wanting more that kept me going. I dreamed of becoming a professional athlete, and whether it was going to become a reality or not, I just never let up. I truly got to appreciate I never really truly got to appreciate the little wins because the pressure that comes along with a high standard of excellence that you hold to yourself and that others hold to you. So being here at this moment and being able to take the time to really think about those moments is truly humbling. So success comes with consistency, and I know that everyone up here has consistently, day in and day out, work really hard at their individual sport. So that's a beautiful thing, and I'm glad that we can all share that together. As I stand here today, I'm reminded this award is not only a recognition of my achievements, but it's also a celebration of the sport, pole vaulting. And it's a reminder that with passion, dedication, and relentless pursuit of excellence, we can achieve anything and we can achieve greatness. I am honored with immense pride and gratitude, not just for myself, but the athletes who have come before me and those that will continue to soar to new heights in the future. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for this credible honor. I am truly humbled and blessed of you all to be a part of this ceremony. I look forward to continuing to support and promote this amazing sport in any way I can. Thank you so much.
Coach Cooper, Victoria, we're very happy to know that I have never flexed, and I never intend to flex. I have, however, since my illness last year, been trying to improve my health. I do crunches each morning after I get up and before I go to bed at night. Captain in the morning and Nestle at night. Back for round two, this time to induct Matt Bittner. Welcome back, Paul Benham.
You really stretch it. Former Major League Baseball manager Joe Madden said, "You can't create magic, you don't deserve magic until you play the game properly. If you play the game properly, all of a sudden, the little things start rolling in your direction." Tonight's three Baseball Hall of Famers did exactly that. They played hard, challenged their teammates, and won big. They were ball players and permanently etched their marks in our record books. We are grateful for the amount of care all three of you continue to give the program. Matt Bittner was an ultra-competitive Titan. He brought a blue-collar attitude from Buffalo, New York, and he played with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. It made him one of our program's toughest players ever. He was confident in a game that made you fail every single day. And it's impossible to be perfect unless you're Ryan Jacobs. Fans, what a more magical confrontation than pitcher versus hitter. And Bittner had the ability to win those battles and drive in the run. Matt was an imposing threat in the box who made angry contact with the ball. In his senior book, I mentioned at alumni events, you will be introduced as one of the greatest hitters of all time. Per teammate Jeff Lang, he said Matt Bittner was straight up lethal when he stepped to the plate. As a rookie, Bittner made an immediate impact, primarily as a DH, and he was such a good player that we occasionally moved Hall of Famer Dustin Dubinsky to left field just to get Bitt in. Teammate Vinny Rice shared, Matt always drove in the run when you needed it, and defensively, he was going to stop everything in front of him and make an out. He was almost a better reincarnation of Dubinsky, but don't tell Dubs I said that. Well, maybe I wasn't supposed to read that part, but Matt did go on to become an all-conference, all-region, and three-time conference champion. During his rookie season, we win the AMCC after Matt goes 5 for 12 in the conference tournament. Bitt loves the game, the smell of the grass, the sound of a wood bat double, laughter in the dugout after a bomb. In 2011, we win 28 games. He hits .403, and in May of that year, there was a huge moment for Matt in our program when he was selected as the NCBWA Hitter of the Week. He crushed 3 home runs, was 10 for 14, and drove in 15 runs. At year's end, he was voted team MVP. His parents, Amy and Rick, raised him right. He led our team, he led by example, and he always pushed his teammates to be better. As Bittner unlocks the back knee and swings, he casually launches the ball into the gap for extra bases, which he did 66 times during his career. I'd like now to take just a moment and compare Matt to his favorite player, Nomar Garciaparra. At Behrend, Bittner hit .367, .403, and .387. You know what, Bitt? Nomar never hit that high. 33% of your hits were of the extra base variety. Nomar's 37. Bittner was second all-time for career doubles at Behrend. Nomar did have more, but he also played in 1,271 more games than you did. Nomar does dominate this next statistical category. He made $70 million in his lifetime. I suspect you're still working on that one. As Bitt hits the bag and rounds first, I'll remind you that deserve is a word none of us should use in athletics. We deserve nothing. The game doesn't owe any one of us. We owe the game. You have to earn everything every single day. And Bitt worked exceptionally hard. It helped him manage all conference and all region honors during his sophomore year while earning a second team MVP. Bittner always worked to be a complete two-way player. He made some of the best backhanded plays down the line I've ever seen. Pushing off second and sprinting to third now, I recently discovered a baseball diary in my box that had some notes regarding Matt's time here. After I passed all the we can't catch, throw, or hit very well, and we need better coaching, I found some genuine comments I had written about players. It's loaded with Craggs makes it happen again. Jacobs throws a three-hitter, Bittner's in clutch, and Joe and Wiz get a couple knocks today. Bitt was our guy. He could carry a game for a week or a month, and he's all New York, but he loved playing in New Concord, Ohio. His junior and senior season, he wore out the big tree behind the right field fence, hitting multiple home runs. And when we go back to Ohio, we refer to it as Bittner's tree. That team produced a 29-win season, an ECAC championship, and Bittner was chosen as the ABCA Mid-Atlantic Player of the Year. It's the only time in my 31 years that's ever happened. Then he earned the ultimate selection when he was named a D3 All-American after registering 31 extra base hits and stealing a dozen bases. As we pass third and head for home, the senior captain guides us to another conference crown, and he concludes his career appropriately at Rose-Hulman in an NCAA regional with a double down the line. Bittner ranks second all-time in career RBIs behind the late, great Jake Boyle. He was a fierce four-time all-conference player, and he drove our team to 118 wins during his 4 years. All right, Bryce and Aiden, it's about time to make some noise here. You were an amazing player, Matt, a first-class teammate, and congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Coach Benham. I'm going to start tonight as the great Brooks Robinson started his Hall of Fame speech. The late, great Brooks Robinson. As I stand here before you, I realize I feel like I'm one of the luckiest men alive. I ask myself, how could I be so fortunate? So for the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you what I believe that answer is. In life, we don't often have the chance to publicly recognize all the blessings in our lives, and I feel lucky that I get to do that tonight. Being inducted tonight, even though not in Cooperstown like Brooks Robinson, is a great honor. I'm extremely grateful to share this night with my wife, Jen, and my two sons, Bryce and Aiden. It means the world that you guys are here with me tonight. To my mom and dad, thank you for your love and support in all my life endeavors, not only in baseball. Mom, thanks for spending all your springs and summers at the Ball Diamond, often not in the greatest weather between northwestern Pennsylvania, and Buffalo, New York. And for being the referee between me and Coach, Dad, when things didn't quite go our way and we needed that. Dad, thank you for being my coach, critic, and biggest fan. I played 163 games here at Behrend. That's more than a Major League Baseball season. And I can count on one hand the number of games he missed. I know I could look down the foul line and see him there, often in his suit and tie. My dad set a great example of how to be a great father. And I hope to do that, be the same thing with my boys. I saw a quote recently that said, you don't understand a parent's love until you become a parent yourself, and that's quite evident. You were great for Rick and I. My brother Rick was an engineering major and a great college pitcher as well. He always let his little brother tag along at his practices or any other activity he did when I was growing up. And I'm blessed to have that role model like Rick and I wouldn't be here without you today. I'm extremely thrilled to share tonight with two of my favorite teammates, Craigs and Jacobs. These guys were the ultimate competitors. We spent tons of times together. We lived together, Craigs and I. We were all plastics majors, so it's crazy to think we didn't get sick of each other after a while. I'll truly cherish all of our memories that we had over here in our 4 years. To the rest of my teammates, thank you for teaching me how to lead, allowing me to lead you, and for most of all, your friendship. Coach Benham runs a college baseball program that's second to none. The way he cares about his players, his students, and people made me want to show up for him every day. Coach does a great job preparing his players for life after college baseball, which I'm always going to appreciate. I'll share my chicken nuggets with you anytime, Coach. Baseball was a game I was dedicated to, worked hard at, and I loved playing. The game gave me great memories and taught me a lot. I can't wait to pass those lessons along to my boys one day. Thank you.
Congratulations, Matt. I do have one question for you, though. I see in your bio you finished your 4 years with 199 hits. They couldn't squeeze one more out there for you? And we didn't talk about this beforehand. I just happened to see that.
Not official score.
Our next inductee, unfortunately left us too soon 10 years ago in 2013. To talk about Dennis Grace and to introduce Erica, who will speak in his behalf tonight, let me bring to the microphone soccer alum Tom Trimble.
Couple observations. First off, let me start with, if y'all pick up your program, digging into the history of Denny Grace, and it has been 50 years since Denny was a student athlete here at Behrend. One of the things I did not realize that I learned tonight by looking at the program, if you look at the 1998 women's soccer picture, I did not realize that Lou Ferrigno was the coach at Penn State Behrend. I'm amazed by the things that you learn all the time. Yeah. First time I saw that picture, though, and realized that, Dan. The second thing that I would share is an observation. And it took several years of working with the staff here at Behrend and with Brian, and I appreciate very much this evening to be here on behalf of Dennis. But one of the requests that I had when he was going to go in the Hall of Fame and I was asked to speak, I said, Brian, I have one request. Just one thing, if you would do this for me. And I said, please don't make me follow Paul Benham as an inductor. I have been to several Hall of Fame events before and have heard Paul speak, and he is just unbelievably talented as a speaker. Hats off to you, Mr. Benham. I'm here tonight, really is a labor of love to be here. And on behalf of former teammates and players of Dennis, who I had an opportunity to speak to, I would like to share with you a few stories. And after hearing all the stories of the inductees so far, I realized that, the saying is true. The older we get, the better we played, right? Well, that's no truer than for us folks that played 50 years ago in 1973 here at Penn State Behrend. You guys that have 10, 12, 15 years, you got nothing on how great we were as players. So you got something to look forward to there. So when we look at athletes and some of those athletes are here, Dave Alois and Bill Hildebrand and Bob Jeffrey and Denny Grace, they were really good. And Denny was a great athlete. There's no doubt about that. So how good was Denny Grace? And how do you measure what greatness is? And what is it about greatness that is formed on the fields and the courts here at Behrend? Because you've heard a lot of great stories here of the athletes that are here tonight. And if you've attended any of the Hall of Fame banquets in the past, these stories just repeat themselves year in and year out. And Denny's story is no different. So what is it that made Denny so great? Well, I have a few stories. First, when I came to Behrend, the first thing that I did, and I came to Behrend and saw a soccer game, pickup soccer game taking place, and I met a gentleman named Herb Loffer. And Herb invited me to just, hey, would you like to come back and play? And being, living in the neighborhood, I came back and played. And one of the first things that Herb did was introduce me to his current players. And one of those players was Denny Grace. Now, it was immediately apparent that Denny possessed athletic skills that I could never have dreamed of in my career. But it was Denny that invited me then to participate in his soccer regimen that summer before I came here to play soccer at Behrend. Little did I know on that summer, before my first fall season, and he invited myself and the other gentleman that's here tonight, Dave Alois. And I said, absolutely. Never having played soccer in high school, I welcomed the opportunity to learn from a gifted athlete like Denny. So I enthusiastically said yes, not realizing that what he meant was 5 days a week, 5 to 6 hours a day. Denny was up here in those fields down where the baseball field is now, where our soccer field was. And we worked out every day. And the other thing that I realized with Denny, now David and I were natural defenders. So of course, Denny was a natural scorer, right? A natural shooter. But I didn't know about David, but it took me a while to figure out Denny's madness in inviting David and I to his practices. You see, Denny knew he needed somebody to shoot at. After several pairs of broken glasses, multiple bruises on my body, I realized that I was in a turkey shoot that summer, and Denny Grace was the shooter. And I'll say his drive and his intensity paid off, not only for Denny and his soccer career here at Behrend, but also for me, because it turned me on to a game that had changed my life. Denny, the second thing I would share about Denny as an athlete, and there's one game that everybody that was here at that time will remember, and it was when we played Roberts Wesleyan. And in that game, it was up at Roberts Wesleyan, I had unfortunately injured my ankle during the game. And so I had to leave the game actually several times to get it taped up properly because we didn't have a lot of the great trainers and programs that you had today. So I was in and out of the game several times trying to get it right. Denny had an amazing game. And it was, Dan, you had shared earlier about an athlete up here that had scored, a hat trick in a game. In that amazing game, Denny Grace scored not 3 goals, but 4 goals. Every one of our goals were scored by Denny that day. But on the downside of that, we also let in 4 goals. So we ended up tying that day. And the thing is, going back to that statement I said earlier, I never remembered, I always thought that when I left the game, that's when they scored the goals. And so now, going back into the games, they never scored a goal when I was in there. So that's my memory of it, and I'm sticking to it. But Denny, to kind of give you an idea of came off that field very disappointed with a 4-4 tie. We all were disappointed, but Denny, with the intensity and the fire that only Denny Grace had, let us all know that and really kind of chewed us out and let us know that we let the team down that day. We let Behrend down that day. So one of the things that I would also share with you about that would give you an insight into that is a quote from one of Denny's players that Denny coached after he left Behrend at a number of different schools around the country. And one of the players recalled one of the lessons that he learned from Denny was that, and it kind of plays into that response that Denny had. Denny always was known for having a very rigorous and challenging practice, pushed his players to the limit every minute of every practice that he had. And there was one player that recalled that, once in a while the players would kind of complain, Coach, don't you think you're going a little bit too hard on us? And then he said Denny's motto was, life is a battle, and then you die. Let's get on with the practice. And that's some insight into Denny and how he dealt with disappointment. And that's going to be relevant as I share some of the other stories that about Denny. Denny graduated from East High School here in Erie, never played soccer before coming to Behrend. And yet Denny in 1973 was a White Letter Award winner, which is for the Most Valuable Player Award. And I appreciate all the goals that you've scored, and we've had many great scorers here. Denny Gray scored 16 goals in a 12-game season. And that really was the one season. He had played in 1971, 72. He had injured his knee and was out for the season. And so 1973 was his banner year for his performance. And those accomplishments alone that he had, 34 career assist points for 2 seasons. And back at that time, that is really what most athletes that came to Behrend had to look for, with 2 years, because we had to go down to main campus and move on from the program at that. So 2 years was all we got. So quite a significant accomplishment. And those accomplishments alone would merit Denny's induction into the Hall of Fame. Now let me share with you the rest of Denny's story. And you could read about his statistics, and that he won over 110 games as a soccer coach after leaving the program, which is interesting because as I talk to the athletes who played the game here at Behrend and then left Behrend, how many of them have become coaches and are giving back to the sport. And I was just talking to the basketball coach, Coach Nealon, and I said, is that true of your sport? He said, oh yeah, a lot of them go into coaching. And that's Denny's track record as well. And I'll tell you a couple of the stories about that. After 2 years here, Denny went on to compete at Indiana University under Coach Yeagley in a program that has won 8 different national championships in soccer. He played there for 2 years, and while he was there, he also stayed and was a graduate assistant coach under Coach Yeagley. But while he was there as an undergraduate and then as a graduate assistant, he was recognized as the coach that took a high school club team and took them to 3 state championships while he was going to school, working, putting himself through school, and then as a graduate assistant an assistant coach at Indiana University. Ultimately, Denny became the second head coach at Notre Dame University and the first one to take Notre Dame soccer to the NCAA tournament. Now, Denny's career was cut short by cancer, but not before he came back to coach Behrend soccer and baseball. And life has taken its toll on Denny by that time, but the fire of that intensity still burned in him, as was relayed to me by one of Denny's players, Rick Neese, who, again, today, and this week, kind of doing a little bit of research. Rick Neese, who's Rick Neese? Dan gave me the contact. I look it up, and Hall of Famer here at Behrend, women's soccer coach for several years, 5 years a head coach at Penn Trafford High School, and very successful program in around Pittsburgh. And today, he's still coaching at Plum area high school as a coach and a assistant coach. I had a chance to meet him at a recent game at Franciscan, a Behrend soccer game, and talk to him a little bit. And he told me a little bit about the intensity that Denny had as a coach. And not only was he a soccer player, Rick Neese also played baseball. And Denny was a soccer coach and a baseball coach, which gives you a little bit of an idea of what a talented athlete and individual that Denny was.
We're all very happy to be here today and recognize his contributions, and want to thank Tom Trimble, Brian Streeter, and the Penn State Behrend Hall of Fame. In addition, Herb Loffer, as we heard, was instrumental in Denny's success, and his wife, Fran. Thanks for all the coaching and the support over the years for Dennis. Thanks again, and congratulations to all the inductees.
Thank you, Erica, very much. Tom? To induct Ali Khan, men's water polo, I'd like to call to the podium now former water polo coach here at Penn State Behrend, Joe Tristan.
Bonjour, ni hao, guten tag, konnichiwa, hola, aloha, assalamu alaikum. Hello. I'd like to congratulate everybody up here for all the hard work you guys put in. Brian Streeter, Gabi, Jill, the athletic department putting on this great meal and event. It's great to be back. It's a great honor to induct Ali. Ali had come a long way when we brought him in. And after his first semester, he was unfortunately academically ineligible. And if there are any executives in here, he said it was okay, I can talk about his academics. And, you know, after we returned from Christmas break, we sat down, we came up with a plan, a study plan to get Ali back. And a couple days later after that conversation, I received a phone call from his dad. And he calls me, he's concerned, he's curious, what's going on, what happened, how do we get him back, what do we do? I explained, well, he's just got to go to class, do his work, he needs to stop just trying to get by. I mentioned to Ali that Ali and I had met, we sat down, we have a plan. He said, that's great. Mr. Condon shot back quickly. He says, Coach, if you need to, just beat him. Wondering if I heard this correctly, I said, excuse me? He said, Coach, just beat him. So I did hear it correctly. And I stated, I don't think we need to do that. He said, no, Coach, seriously, beat him. I will sign any waiver. I will sign any release that needs to be done. Get him his academic straight, get him back. You have my permission. I thought about it. I did. I'm not going to lie. I honestly thought about it for a few seconds. But I said, let's try the study thing first. And if he doesn't comply, then the public and private beatings will begin. Fortunately, I did have one ace in my hand. He was more afraid of his mom than anybody else. So I just told him, if you don't comply, I'm going to call your mom. Needless to say, he complied. He got back. He graduated, avoided any capital punishment. And once he graduated, he took the corporate world by storm. And to this day, he's made a name for himself. United Airlines, he's currently working for Hertz. And he would tell me, Coach, you know when you go to Chicago and the trays where you put your luggage bins and stuff, I was part of that project. Coach, and he would just tell me and tell me and tell me all these cool things and whatnot. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. You know, he's matured, he's growing up, he's really doing some great stuff. And he then tells me, my pride is just going through the roof. And I'm like, this is awesome. Ali is really, really taking off. And, this is a kid that academically and eligible, we both were like, his career is slipping away. And he says, and I'm like, he's become a professional. Then he tells me, hey, Coach, I went to Target yesterday. I was in there. I needed to get a toothbrush. Okay. So I was in there for like an hour and a half. Okay, that must be a pretty interesting toothbrush that he's looking for. I walked out with a $900 TV. I said, regretfully, I did not want to ask the question. I said, did you get the toothbrush? He goes, no. I just went, and there he is. So, there's so many stories that we've talked about. When I moved to Iowa, we stopped off at Ali's house. He was gracious enough to host myself, my two kids, my wife. And sure enough, what does he show me? The toothbrush TV. He still has it. Ali was a very tenacious and fierce competitor. He knew how to win. Teams took one look at him and said, this guy's easy. We have no problems with him. Until he scored 3 goals and they're like, okay, we need to really get a lockdown on this guy. Many great memories, such as being thrown out of the Fordham game within the first 2 minutes of the game, or the almost infamous drowning incident in the shallow end while he's holding the wall, standing on the bottom, holding his calf, yelling across the pool that he's drowning. Or the fact that for 4 straight years, he had an entourage of players to put his own contact lenses in. He could not do it. He had to have a player, and I'm not lying. One player would hold his eye, and he would literally take the eye contact and stick it in. He could not do it by himself. If he could wear glasses in the pool, he would, but he couldn't. So, other fond memories, Princeton, playing Division I Princeton, and that year we played them. Princeton went on to be the I think they finished 3rd at the Division I NC2A championships, and we were tied 4-4 going into halftime. Louis Nicolau over on the other side of the pool screaming at his team, going like, what are you guys doing? We're over here going, hey, just keep playing hard. But one of the probably best memories I had was we're in California, we're playing Caltech. And Caltech either gets a tying goal or they get ahead. We've got 25 seconds of regulation. Ali draws an ejection, I call timeout. As the team comes to the side of the pool, Ali just looks at the team, yells at them, and he says, we're not going to lose this effing game. He looks me dead in the eye, give me the damn ball. Winners always want the ball, right? So we drew up the play. Let's get the ball 6 in, wrap the ball around, bring it back up. Ali, wrap up from the 1, get it over there. He should be open for a shot. Let's look for that shot. Just be careful, watch the defenders. Victor, clear some space up in the front. We should have an open goal for Ali to take the shot. We run the play, things moving perfectly. Ali gets the ball exactly where we wanted him. He's got the ball, he's faking it, he's moving it. Victor slides to clear space. And Ali he got big, got out of the water. He's ready to take this shot. Every aspect of determination exuded from his body that he was going to win this game for us. Oops. His arm rifles forward, just ready to go. Everybody bites. The goalie's big. He's up there. Ali releases that ball. But he releases it and hooks it to the left, finding Victor on the 2-meter line. Wide open, puts the ball in cage. We eventually win the game. We finish the next week. We were ranked 10th in the country. And it was, I think he was player of the week that week. But this is who Ali is. A fierce competitor, a winner that wants the ball, but will never forget who his teammates are. A trademark of a true leader. This is the reason why he's the only male 3-time All-American in the history of the program. There's only one other person that has more All-Americans, and that is Mary Ellen Spooner, who is also a Hall of Fame inductee this year. Unfortunately, she's due to have a baby right around this time, so she kind of deferred it. But he was one of the best captains in my 20 years. He led the team. We were a family. All I would say, Z, don't send him to Target to get a toothbrush. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, and I want to make this last part quick because I think I left my toothbrush in Iowa, Ali, so if we can. It's a great honor to present Ali Khan inducting into the Penn State Behrend Hall of Fame.
If anyone wants to get up right now and stretch, please feel free. I know these can be kind of long. I'm going to start off with a quote. Walter Payton once said, "Everything good about me, I owe to other people. Everything that's bad about me, I earned that on my own." And that's really what my speech is about. It's not about individual accomplishments or accolades. It's about the people who taught you and got you to this point. First off, I want to thank and I want to extend my deepest gratitude to Brian Streeter and the entire Penn State Behrend athletic faculty and staff for granting me this prestigious honor today. I'm truly humbled to be among the greats who have ever graced the pool at this institution. I also want to extend my congratulations to the other inductees for their tremendous accomplishments. I wish you all continued success in your endeavors. My list of thanks runs deep, and I'd like to start from the top, acknowledging as many people as I can as quickly as possible. To all my coaches, did you ever imagine that we would be here today? I want to express my heartfelt thanks to my wife, Zubeda. You are the cornerstone of our family, and I can't wait for the day that our next baby arrives due in December. You are the best mother to our daughter, Alea, and I'm so proud of who you are. While we didn't know each other during my athletic career here, your unwavering support in all my pursuits has been invaluable. I can picture you passionately cheering from the stands and berating officials on my behalf if we were here together in college. I love you deeply, and I eagerly anticipate our future adventures together. Hopefully one day our children will grace a stage just like this. I'm immensely grateful to my mother and father, Syra and Schwabe, for being the best parents a son could ask for. You nurtured me, provided for me, and supported me through every phase of my life. Your loving care extends to our daughter, and I'll forever be indebted to you both for ensuring that Hassan and I had everything we needed. To my brother Hassan, who's here today, our sibling rivalry has fueled us in every aspect of life, and while I may claim victory 100% of the time, you've always pushed me to be better. My achievements, whether in goals, assists, or even degrees earned, are a testament to my competitive spirit, driven by the desire to set an example for you. I couldn't be prouder to call you my brother, and I know we'll be there for each other from cradle to the grave. To all the coaches and teammates who have been an integral part of my life for over 2 decades, you've shaped not only the player, but the person I've become. Your guidance, patience, and unwavering support have brought me to where I am today. I also want to extend a few thanks to some individuals who've had a profound impact on me. To my teammates, Nick Lukitas, Brandon Horsch, Hunter Backenstosh, Jake DeRoche, and countless others. You are more than friends, you are my family. I couldn't have asked for a better group of individuals to play and battle alongside with day in and day out. To my coaches, Ivan Munoz, you not only taught me how to swim at the tender age of 6, but you also introduced me to water polo. Your influence in my life extends beyond coaching. Your family to me, a brother I can always rely on. I'm grateful that you took a chance on a young, chubby brown kid from Chicago to lead the teams that we had growing up. Sean Weimer, words cannot adequately describe or express what you mean to me. From assistant coach to head coach, you went above and beyond the pool to ensure my success. Our journey through high school, whether it was challenges and triumphs, shaped me into the person that I am today. Our collaboration continued even after college. When we coached together, we achieved state titles and multiple league championships. You are more than a coach. You are family. Your wife Rose and your children Connor and Maggie hold a special place in my heart. You're a brother for life. Anthony Spoto, you were my coach for 2 years and begrudgingly the greatest water polo player in Penn State Behrend history. I patterned my game around you, striving to command the ball and demand attention in the water, just as you did. People feared you for your incredible shooting skills and pinpoint accuracy. I recall after my first NCAA game at Navy, I said to you, "I'm going to break your scoring record," to which you responded, "I hope you do." Though I never quite caught up to that scoring title, I wouldn't have it any other ways, number 1 and number 2. Those records are untouchable, and I'm proud of how close we've become. You're a brother for life, and I'm proud of the man, husband, and father you've become, Spoto. You're a legend, and I cherish how close our friendship is. And finally, Joe Tristan. You're both a father figure and a brother to me. You didn't just make me a better water polo player, you made me a better man. You and your wife, Allison, are role models to me, and I strive to be as good of a parent and husband to my family as you are to each other and to Mackenzie and Michaela. You'll forever be a part of the Kahn family, whether the torch is passed down to future water polo players or not. I wouldn't have graduated if it wasn't for you, Joe. You believed in me, even in my darkest moments, and helped me turn my life around. From failing biology to end up finishing my master's at Northwestern, I credit the transformation for your unwavering support. When Hassan was hospitalized with a burst appendix years after I graduated, you were the first person I called. You stayed with him in the ER until my dad and I could catch the next flight out. It was 3 a.m. You picked up without hesitation. You changed the way I played and taught me that it takes both skill and determination to be the best version of yourself in the pool. You were there from the beginning of this journey, Joe, on that warm summer day in August of 2009. It's touching that you are still here 13 years later, a testament to the enduring bonds that we have forged. You were there at my wedding, and now almost 2 kids later, you remain a cherished friend. There's no other coach I would have rather played for, and I hope our friendship lasts a lifetime. Thank you all. We are Penn State.
Thank you. Congratulations. Very quick, I'd be remiss. We should, I think, thank the staff for the food tonight and for the service. A quick round of applause for those good folks. And secondly, it never ceases to amaze me, the youngsters, some of whom have taken their leave of absence already, but the youngsters who've been here tonight, outstanding. Make sure you give them hugs and kisses before you put them to bed tonight. Round 3, Paul Benham, who once told the Reverend Billy Graham, "I simply love your crackers." Is this mic working? Paul Benham, the esteemed baseball coach, who told Reverend Billy Graham, "I simply love your crackers." Round 3 with Coach Benham to induct Ryan Jacobs.
All right, it was early September, and I had the pleasure of driving home from my daughter Mara and Penn State Behrend's women's volleyball opening 3-game sweep in New York. And the song Portugal by Walk on the Moon came on, and the lyrics resonated. As I've watched time slip through my hands, what you don't know now, one day you'll learn. Growing up is a heavy leaf to turn. The game of baseball is a kid's game. And when we're out there, we think we have all this time. It's endless. Just keep playing the game and it'll go on forever. We quickly learn in adulthood that it's time that actually has its way with us. And it blows my mind that 10 years ago, you guys were out there piling up on our field. Matt Bittner, Ryan Jacobs, and Craggs are linked by the game. All 3 are plastics engineers, thanks to BY. And all 3 were the best at their positions in the AMCC, in the region, and perhaps in program history. After competing together for about 180 games and 200 plus practices, it's my pleasure to continue to share some memories on Ryan. We've had Hall of Fame pitchers Ryan Seiler, Chris McCartney, and David Corbel enshrined, and now our most successful pitcher in Behrend baseball history, Ryan Jacobs. If you don't listen to anything I said tonight, please make a note of this, that Ryan was in fact perfect, or perhaps the luckiest pitcher in Behrend baseball history. Why, you ask? Because he always pitched when the other team never scored any runs. On the mound, the only thing you can control is pounding the mitt. Some pitchers hone their craft, hit spots, move the ball around the strike zone with incredible touch, as if they're Norman Rockwell with a brush. Jacobs pitched more like David Grohl, the supremely talented lead singer of the Foo Fighters. It was loud, aggressive, like an email you read in all caps as it screams at you. He had this such confidence in his stuff. He commanded the game like no other pitcher we've ever had. Ryan was just relentless, and he kept coming at you. Ryan was a mound warrior from the moment he had arrived on campus, and he was one of only 4 freshmen across 33 all-league players. He posted an unblemished AMCC record that year, and it became a personal standard for him. A teammate shared, Jacobs was very lighthearted on the field. When push came to shove and the stakes get higher, you would always see him reel that in and become more focused than ever. We're on the road at Frostburg State in the first round of the conference tournament, and he wasn't his usual self. So we pulled him actually after 1 inning. Our team wins a really tight game. He comes back 2 days later to start in the final. Jacobs owns the black, 9-inning CG. It was a big day for the Behrend Lions. We win at 8-3. Dustin Dubinsky said, I'll never forget his start in that game. We couldn't catch the ball. We did make 4 errors that day, but he never let it faze him. Our team beat FSU on the road when they were nationally ranked, and Jacobs beat a pitcher for the Bobcats that advanced to AAA. Our team piled up in gray in Maryland, winning the last game that Frostburg State ever played in the AMCC. As he settles in during year 2, my idea of managing Jacobs quickly becomes give him the ball, sit down, and stay out of the way. In Florida, he spins a 4-hitter against Alvernia. They were an NCAA team the year before. They end up going 8-0 after Jacobs beats him that day. Cubs, you'll be happy to know that last year we piled up at Alvernia, winning an ECAC championship. His teammates vote him MVP, and he catches a second All-League award. Entering his final 2 years, Jacobs wanted more. He worked exceptionally hard. He focused on school and baseball. He became more economical and matured as a pitcher. Ryan felt strongly he owed it to his family, his professors in the program, to compete at his best level. As a junior, he posts an 8-2 mark, is voted the team's most valuable pitcher, first team All-AMCC, and leads us to an ECAC championship during another 29-win season. He starts game 1 of the playoffs, comes back 4 years to pitch 6 innings in relief when we needed you the most. Then in his final year, the legend of Ryan Jacobs grows, and it happened on Sunday, April 14th, 2013. The only perfect game in Behrend baseball history is thrown by Ryan Jacobs. It was a 1-0 win on the Behrend Diamond. It included a backhander by Bitt, a pick by Vinnie Rice, and excellent outfield play by Ryan Craggs. It turned out to be a 68-pitch masterpiece. That season, he wins another 8 games. We pile up again, and once again, we are AMCC champions with 30 wins. We head to the NCAA Regional for the 5th time in school history. In Game 1, Jacobs faces Marietta. In 7 innings, he sets 9 of them down. He is named the AMCC Pitcher of the Year again. There are a couple things you need to know about number 31. On his preseason baseball questionnaire, we asked, what's your biggest asset? He was very direct. To be the most competitive pitcher, I'm determined to dominate. Jacobs is the only player in history to make 11 or more starts across each of his 4 years. How about an unreal video game stat like? He never lost an AMCC game he pitched in. As a coach, I'm not even sure what to do with that sentence other than read it again. He never lost an AMCC game that he pitched in. His idea of pitching was to strike the world out, K them all. Slider K, curveball K, fastball K, changeup K. He set the single season record and ranked 2nd all-time for career Ks. He finishes number 1 all-time for career wins, ranks 1st for innings pitched. He throws 2 one-hitters, 2 two-hitters, and 3 three-hitters. Every time Jacobs pitched, we expected to win. To this day, our record book is dripping with his name. I'll close with a quote from Jim Bouton. He said, you spend a good deal of your life gripping a baseball, and at the end, you realize it was the other way around the whole time. I've had the pleasure of coaching or playing with 30 other Behrend Lions Hall of Famers. Tonight, number 31, you're number 31. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Jacobs.
Pretty hard to beat that speech, you know, but I want to say thank you everyone for coming out, showing your love and support on such a remarkable evening. First, I'd like to take a moment to thank all the incredible people who've stood by my side on this journey. To my teammates, Matt Bittner and Ryan Kragness, you guys have been the backbone to some of the most incredible moments in my career. There's no perfect game with you guys, there's no championship with you guys, and there's no Hall of Fame with you guys. To my coach, you remind me time and time again there was no world beyond the field, or there was a world beyond the field. A lesson that brought me to Penn State Behrend and molded me into the person I am today. A massive shout out to the athletic department and the school for providing a platform where I could hone my skills, where I could step up and compete, pushing the boundaries of what I thought was impossible. And to my family, my rock, and my support. Dad, thank you for being my number one fan, the person who's always been there every step of the way and never missed a game no matter what. Love you, Pops. And I can't forget about my mom. My mom passed away a few years ago, but she's the true angel in my life and the woman who saw the spark in me before anyone else did. Her belief in me was the force that propelled me forward time and time again, even when the odds were stacked against me. But now I'd like to rewind a little bit and take you guys kind of on a little journey back on a very special day that encapsulates the essence and the journey of Penn State Behrend. And that day was nothing but a miracle. I remember stepping onto the field that day not feeling my best. It was actually the worst bullpen I had all year. Within 5 pitches in the first inning, something just clicked. As the innings progressed, I started to dawn on me something special was unfolding. There was an incredible synergy between us all, especially Evan, my catcher. We moved like a well-oiled machine, reading each other's signals with an understanding that went beyond words. It was Evan who swung the bat and brought Ryan Kragness in for that first run in that perfect game, securing the critical 1-0 lead in the first inning, setting the tone for the rest of the game. His understanding and anticipation of my pitches felt like a secret language, one that we had mastered over countless practices and games. Then there was Matt Bittner, a rock on the field, showcasing his All-American skills. His presence was nothing short of a safety net for me, making plays that kept the dream of throwing a perfect game alive. When the last pitch found its mark, sealing a perfect game, I found myself walking off the field like it was just another day. Engulfed in a sensation of disbelief, it took a moment amongst all the cheering and the teammates rushing out for it to really sink in. The magnitude of what we achieved, not as individual players, but as a united force. You see, it's not just a victory, but it's a testament to what you can achieve with persistence, with the right people lifting you up, backing you every step of the way. From the early days playing up an age bracket to the moment of triumph on the college field, every step was a lesson, a stepping stone to this very moment. To me, the key to success is by surrounding yourself with people who believe in you, people who lift you up and support you, and then the rest is up to you to take action and go after and get it. Thank you, everyone, and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Ladies and gentlemen, I hold in my hand the name of the final presenter tonight. Patrick O'Driscoll has been the women's soccer coach here for 18 years, got a nice win today over Mount Aloysius. He now has over 230 wins in his career. And to induct Valerie Wagner into the Penn State Behrend Athletic Hall of Fame. Here's Patrick O'Driscoll.
It's not lost on me. You've been sitting there for a while, but we've got one more special person to sort of put into the Hall of Fame tonight. So I just want to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about Valerie Haney. She has 2 children under 5 here who've lasted the whole night if you look at the back. So I think you can probably all give me maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and then Val maybe another 3 or 4 minutes after that. So I don't have a huge speech planned. Much like Coach Nyland, when you get a good player or a great player as a coach, you always remember where you saw them first and how that kind of came about. And I didn't really have to think about it, but I remember that story really well with Val. Played for a powerhouse club in Pittsburgh, Beedling, really good club, traditionally pushed players on to the college level. Cal University PA, terrible fields. Val's playing for Beedling. And she kind of snuck on that team because she moved from Colorado shortly before that and then came to the Beedling team. So Val was essentially, for me, let me just contact her, see if we can get a shot at her. Probably she's not going to come. She's going to play at a higher level. And we just kind of stuck in there. And when a player like Val commits to come, you want to tell her and her parents she's going to be really good, but you just can't say that. But you know it. And I knew that when she committed, and that's exactly how it turned out. And there she is right here after playing 4 great years. The honors are in the program. She was first team all-conference player as a freshman. She was an all-region player. She was the offensive player of the year in the league. But Val's story for me was one a little bit more about perseverance. The first 2 years were ECAC years, which any Behrend person knows. That's not really what you're all about, right? You want to be kind of moving on to the NCAA tournament. But when you don't win initially, and then you win later, it's always a lot sweeter because you've had that sort of pain of defeat and it spurs you on to something great. And then Val got the opportunity to win conference championships in her junior year and her senior year. In her junior year, she was offensive player of the year in the league and just frequently all-conference player for us. With Val, as a coach, there's certain images you get in your head of a player, okay? For our team to win, for many teams that I've coached, there would be many players that could help us win. But with the teams that Val played on, especially her senior year, we needed Val to play well for us to win. We needed her to play well for us to win. And invariably, in the big games, when it mattered, not the games where we're winning 5-0, 6-0, in the big games, she always came up, whether it was on the stat sheet or the level of her performance, she always came through in those big games. And to me, that's the mark of a really, really impactful player in the program. And that's kind of my overriding memory of Val. Again, images you have of a player. People here, maybe there's basketball, there's baseball, there's all sorts of sports people here. But with Val, she was such an intelligent player. So if you took away the dribble, she would pass to beat you. She could shoot to beat you. She could use her brain. So whenever a defender took something away, she would just do the other thing, and they really didn't know how to stop her. As a coach, a bit like Coach Benham said, it was kind of a little bit for me just stay out of the way and let her be. And I always felt in those big games, if we had her on the field, that we just had a really good chance to win. And without me doing anything, she always stepped up in those important moments in the big games. Some memories I have with Val, I just have some small things written down that will mean something to her, but maybe not to you. But I remember our Brazil trip. I remember all your friends. Certain names just come up when you think of players. So we've got Val, we've got Julia, we've got Shelby, we've got Maddie, we've got Aaron, we've got Lindsay, we've got the Lewises, we've got Danielle. We've got all these different people. And sports are really about memories, relationships, time spent together. But Val was a very impactful player in our program. That's really all I have. I'm just really proud that she's up here. She has a beautiful family. And welcome to the Penn State Behrend Hall of Fame, Valerie.
baby girl. What are you doing? You stay down there. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees on this huge accomplishment. I am truly honored to be inducted alongside each and every one of you. Thank you to everyone who made this night possible. Thank you to the Behrend Athletic Department, Brian Streeter, Coach Patrick, for the kind words, and to my teammates who made my 4 years at Behrend truly unforgettable. To Patrick, thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you have done for me. You gave me the confidence to be a leader on the field and to be the player I was. You made it possible for me to travel to Brazil with the team. I will be forever grateful of that. You are an amazing coach, mentor, and person to all the women you come in contact with. The passion and drive I had for soccer faded the season you weren't here. You made the program what it is and what it was, an unstoppable force. In high school, I moved across the country from Colorado to Pennsylvania. Soccer allowed me to make friends at a time where I thought would be impossible. Here at Behrend allowed me to make friends who've turned into family. You want to recruit her now, Patrick? She's doing laps. Hi, baby. To my teammates along the way, each of you have made my soccer career unbelievable. To Danny, we were attached at the hips our whole soccer career and life. I don't have enough words to thank you for being alongside me and being an amazing teammate and friend. You're going to be a great mommy. One of the fondest memories playing at Behrend was beating Altoona in the AMCC championship game in PKs. Soccer taught me discipline and drive. It taught me to be confident in all I do and to fearlessly tackle any obstacle and barrier in life. Here's a little background story on how I started my soccer career. At the young age of 5, I will never forget the day. My dad and I arrived to the field, got out of the car, walked what felt like 5 miles to the top of the hill where we stopped and stood watching all the other kids get out of their cars and run onto the field. I could feel my heart pounding. I was terrified. I asked my dad for one hug after another. After a dozen hugs, he finally said, "Okay, now go out there and have fun, no more hugs." If he never gave me that nudge, who knows if I'd ever start playing soccer. I definitely probably wouldn't be on this stage. Thank you to my mom and dad for everything you guys have given me and did everything so I could travel the country and play soccer. You guys are my biggest supporters and cheerleaders. It wasn't a soccer game if my mom wasn't embarrassedly yelling, "Go, take it, hun." To my husband and family that are here today, thank you for all that you do and all the love and support you have given me. To my husband, thank you for driving 100+ miles to come see me for every game. You are crazy. I had to play a little harder when you were here, so thank you. I am truly humbled by being inducted. This will be a night I never forget and will forever cherish. Thank you again, and I hope everyone had a great evening.
Congratulations again to all the inductees. Thank you so much for coming and your continued support of Penn State Behrend. The hour is late. I'm tired. I'm usually in bed when the street lights are on, so I'm well past my bedtime. Don't forget, the reception at Logan House follows. Thank you again. You've been a great crowd. Have a good evening.